What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Life and Suffering of Sir Brante, episode number 13 with me, GamerKnoob. Let's get the show on the road. Stefan's Gambit. You have hardly found any time for family matters this year. The events taking place in the city keep you busy at all hours. Tonight you come home extremely late, but the fireplace in the sitting room is lit. By the fire you see Stefan with a glass of wine. Your elder brother has been waiting for you. You take a seat in the chair by Stefan's side. Your brother keeps turning his glass with his long fingers. Noob. We need to have a talk about Gloria. She flatly refuses to behave as she ought to. Her antics are ruining our family's reputation. If this situation persists, nobility of the sword will be out of the question. Brother, I do not wish her ill, but we have no right to sit idly by. Regrettably, Gloria will never truly be a part of the Brante family. Her origins are too tarnished, so it is our duty to find her a new family. It is high time Gloria got married. But we can't just give our sister to a commoner, can we? And how could any noble wed her knowing her origins? It's been a stumbling block for a long time, but I finally found a suitable match for her. His name is Jose L. Pelletier. He is a young nobleman of the sword, recently graduated from the college, and now has a position at the city hall. Do you recall his reception several years ago, where he couldn't take his eyes off Gloria? Pelletier has been obsessed with her ever since. Not even her lowly origins can deter him. Admittedly, Gloria does not reciprocate his affection just yet. So let us convince Gloria that becoming Sir L. Pelletier's bride is her chance to escape her current situation, and then let us pray she comes to her senses and puts her rebellious ways behind her. Isn't this an ideal solution? After marrying L. Pelletier, Gloria will be a noble woman herself. We'll be granting her the freedom she's craved since she was a girl, and then she can write poetry and do whatever else takes her fancy. I will return to negotiations with the L. Pelletier family. Rumor has it that Jose's father already has a future wife in mind for him, the daughter of an important chancellery official. But Jose's passion must win out in the end, don't you agree? As for you, Noob, please help me with Gloria. You're closest to her. You can make her see how beneficial this match will be. She must fulfill her duty to the family that took her in, after all. Stefan looks at you expectantly. You're at a crossroads. Will you accept your brother's plan or refuse him? Will this marriage be a blessing, and for whom? I want to say accept, because I want to, like, I don't, like, if Gloria doesn't want to do it after talking to me and stuff, then she doesn't have to do it. But I don't want to just say no, because, like, maybe she would want to do it after I talk to her, so I'll say yes. Even though I don't feel like that's the route it's going to give me. You remain silent for some time, weighing your decision. The plan your brother has proposed sounds reasonable. In a new family with a noble title, Gloria will be able to put all the resentment about her fate behind her and be free of the limitations of the lowly estate. You let Stefan know that you are on his side. A broad smile lights up his face as he reclines in his chair. I knew you'd be sensible. Together we can certainly make this happen. But remember how stubborn Gloria is, and an easy victory is not to be expected. The next morning you invite Gloria to join you in the library for a private conversation. You inquire carefully about your sister's thoughts on marriage. If a nobleman of the sword were to wed her, she would join the noble estate, and all the arts would be open to her. Gloria laughs in response. Become a noblewoman. In all of Anazat, you'd never find a single nobleman of the sword who would ever marry a low-born girl like me. I don't even have a father. You mention Jose L. Pelletier. This spirited young gentleman would be willing to join Gloria in wedlock. Marry L. Pelletier, Noob. You don't understand. Sure, he's easy on the eyes. He's a skilled warrior and a respected nobleman. But he's been after me for a year now, and I've managed to figure out what he's after. He needs a wife to give birth to his heirs. Follow him around obediently at social gatherings and praise his chivalry. Can you see me in that role? Gloria falls silent for a moment, gathering her thoughts. Besides, I don't even want to be a noblewoman, okay? I can't just live peacefully within a noble estate knowing that other commoners are still suffering. I can't just pretend their misery has nothing to do with me. You try to give her a taste of the benefits that a noble name brings, but your sister doesn't even want to hear you. This is all Stefan's idea, isn't it? You'd never throw me out of the house on your own, so hear this. It's not going to happen. Lady, you inform Stefan of your sister's refusal. His face turns to stone. The ingrate. I've almost come to an agreement with old El Pelletier. All the pains we've taken to arrange her future, and this is how she repays us. Well, we'll proceed without consulting her. Brother, we need to devise a way to put pressure on Gloria, even if it takes us a long time. I mean, if she doesn't want to do it, she doesn't want to do it. But if she can be convinced to do it, then sure, go for it. Getting even. Philippe left Anazat for the capital last night on urgent business. He gave you both direct, unambiguous orders before he left. Cease all activity and wait for him to return. A month of freedom, an entire month of peace. Is this real? Can you finally stop and catch your breath? But unfortunately, you do not even get to enjoy the thought of freedom for long. As noon approaches, Sophia appears in the door of your office. She has risked a visit in the middle of the day. This must be urgent. What brings her here? Dorius Otten. Ring a bell? You know, the High Commander of Magra, an Arknian, my former master, rapist, murderer, all-around piece of shit. I've been keeping tabs on him ever since I got back to Anazat. Here's where it gets interesting, Brante. Turns out Philippe Alfaro isn't the only guy trying to take advantage of the chaos to make a grab for power. There's a noble revolt brewing way up in the upper echelons, and Melodidus' followers are itching to rebel against Overseer Tempest, and Dorius Otten is one of the heavies. You see where I'm going with this? All Gaius Tempest's authority comes from the Imperial Legion's swords, and the guy in charge of them all, the High Commander of the province, that's Otten. And he can't wait to betray the Overseer and hand all of the power over to the Archduke. If this revolt goes through, everything we've worked for will go up in smoke. We can't let this happen. We need to expose Otten as the traitor he is and give Gaius Tempest all the proof. What about Philippe? What does he have to say about all this? We don't even know where Philippe is right now. He's incommunicado. We'll have to go against his orders and act on our own. We've got no time to waste either. They could spring into action at the drop of a hat. Sophia's voice is trembling. You're not used to hearing her like this. Why is she so eager to take on Otten down? Is she out for revenge? I'm more worried about the last straw's future than revenge, but I'm gonna level with you. If I had my way, I'd nothing more than to strangle Otten with my bare hands. Seeking the Overseer on him is the next best thing. As usual, Sophia sounds level-headed and makes a solid point, but you cannot help but feel she is hiding something. Should you defy Philippe's orders and aid her? Is it a good idea to get involved in the struggle between the province's two most powerful Arknians? I'm not gonna have her shadowed, but it is tempting. I don't think I'm gonna refuse either. I think I'm gonna ask her to explain herself. Of course you will help Sophia with this, but she is going to doing herself a disservice by keeping her friends in the dark. Before you go through with this, you would like her to explain it all to you. Sophia's eyes narrow and she studies you, pondering your words. You remain quiet, giving her time, trying to breathe as quietly as you can. Over a minute passes before Sophia speaks again. Okay, noob, I trust you, so I'll level with you, but if you betray that trust, it'll just about kill me, okay? I'm tired. I've been a pawn all my life, an Arknian's maidservant, a witch with no will of her own, stuck in prison, a toy in Philippe's hand, a tiny insect in the Divine Sign. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of being a thing, I'm sick of having owners, I'm sick of following orders, I'm sick of being used for someone else's goals. Well, I'm done, you got that? I'm done. We're doomed, you and me. You're not deluding yourself on that account, are you? Philippe's gonna see us hang just like he did the Lotless in Eterna. We'll stay alive long as we're useful. No amount of loyalty to the secret sanctuary can save us, but when he finally decides to get rid of us, I'll be ready. And Dorius Otten, you know, he's the worst Arknian of them all. I was his maidservant for years. It was the worst thing that ever happened to me. Ever. Worse than the House of Humility, way worse than now. And now, Otten is scheming to betray Gaius Tempest, just one of his many plots, business as usual. And the thing is, he'd never had to pay the price for his own schemes, other people did. Kids who lost their homes, who had to slave away for scraps, and their fathers hanging themselves from despair. Sophia's voice trails off. She rummages around in her pocket, stuffs a hearty pinch of tobacco into her pipe, and puffs out a cloud of yellowish smoke. Then she continues, her voice a calm, lifeless monotone. And now I have a chance to end it all. If it means putting my life on the line, so be it. Because we're doomed, see? The moment I realized that, I became free. If I can make this world better, I'm gonna try, and I'll keep on trying until I drop. And you're with me, noob. That means a lot. For the next 10 days, you watch Otten's house, memorizing the guard schedule, studying the layout of the mansion, planning escape routes, until finally you have the opportunity to act. When night falls, the two of you go there together. There's a carriage at the gate. Looks all too familiar. Is there a guest at Otten's mansion? Who cares? There's no turning back now. No time. You climb over the tall stone wall and disappear into the dark garden. The sprawling shrubbery conceals you. Perfect timing. A few seconds later, two night watchmen turn the corner, about to walk past. Sophia's eyes flare with burning yellow light. The guards fall into a deep sleep and collapse on the spot. You drag them into the shadows. Once you have their keys, your dagger finishes them both off. The bodies dissipate. Two lesser deaths. Once inside and in the mansion kitchen, you prick up your ears. You hear footsteps of the muffled voices of Otton and his late-night guest. They are too far away, but you recognize a single word but their voices are coming from the sitting room. This is promising. You need to make your way to Otton's study on the second floor. You sneak to the stairs, shrouded in total darkness. The voices are clearer now. You're trying too hard to please both the Overseer and the Archduke Magistrate. You ought to stop that before you lose your seat to someone else. Unless you side with the right people, that is. Sir Otton, I wholeheartedly share the Archduke's anger, but a revolt, the city will suffer immensely. So you're just a coward then, human? You've wasted enough time on this. You sneak to the upper floor and conceal yourself in Otton's study. So it's all true. Otton's in this thing up to his eyeballs. We're almost out of time, Noob. Look for the papers. Anything with a melodidus seal on it. We're gonna put the screws to this prick. The two of you hurriedly rummage around in bookshelves, drawers, and cabinets. Any note or letter you find that seems remotely useful you stuff in a bag. The floorboards creak. The footsteps grow louder. The window! The glass shatters. Sophia jumps through the window frame. The door behind you slams open. Otton dashes in the room with unhuman speed. He grabs a sword off the wall and rushes in. Out of options, you leap outside as cold steel slices the skin on your back, but you're already falling. Sophia helps you to your feet. Don't let them get away! But the High Commander's order is futile. No one knows the streets and alleyways of Anazat better than you and Sophia. Several hours later, you finally reach the door of the print shop. Take your shirt off. I need to wash that wound of yours. You got lucky. Real lucky. He almost had you. What now? What will she do next? Oh, I'll send the Overseer a little gift. I'm sure you and I will hear about Otton real soon. 3 days later, the papers find their way to Gaius Tempest. He issues an order to relieve Otton of his duties as the High Commander of Magra. Soon after that, the disgraced Arknian departs for Castle Serpenverda, the citadel of his master, Archduke Melodidus. That fateful night has left you with a treasure trove of dangerous information, enough to tarnish the reputations of many of the nobles complicit to the plot. You wisely keep the intelligence to yourself for now. It just might come in handy one day. See ya, Dorius Otton. And up our spy network. Nice. I like it. Very good steps there. Year 1143. The last straw. Rumors are running wild in Anazat. People say that a mysterious clandestine society called the Last Straw holds the entirety of the city's underbelly in its clutches, with men in safe houses all over Anazat plotting and scheming against the nobles and rulers of the province. Their leader is a woman, a ruthless criminal by the name of Sophia. She has evaded all attempts at capture. The common people both fear the Last Straw and sympathize with their cause. The rumors are true, the city finally has someone who will stop at nothing to help the people claim their rights. But who would support this secret organization, and how did the insurgents manage to survive this long? No one in the city knows the answer. Magistrate Elvermon must assuage the people's fears once again. The vile mutineers and heretics who call themselves the Last Straw will be caught and executed very soon, and anyone who has given them their money and shelter will meet the same fate. The secret chancellery will make sure of that. But even facing a manhunt, the Last Straw still endures. Slowly but surely, the influence of this underground organization is spreading throughout the city. Ooh, we're going up. We're doing better. The hard goodbye. Night falls upon the city, shrouding it in darkness and dotting the sky with stars. The din of the streets dies down slowly. Soon, the heavy footfalls of gendarme patrols is the only sound. You're at the print shop tying up the day's loose ends. There's a sudden knock at the door. Sophia walks in without a word, holding a half-empty bag. She heads to the room containing the shop's records. Somewhere in there, under piles of paperwork, is a crate with her things in it. Sophia pushes the paper aside and starts shoving things into a bag. She barely looks at what she is doing. What is going on? She freezes, as though noticing you for the first time. She pulls up a chair, sits down, and lights her pipe. I was with Philippe just now. I'm leaving for a long time. Could be a whole year. Gotta recruit pissed off people for the Last Straw from all over Magra. He thinks we've already found everybody here in Anazat. She going alone? Sophia nods, exhaling smoke. Yep, Philippe's orders says it's safer that way. He needs you here. Her eyes are trained on you. You notice the yellow light glimmering deep within them. Even without the underground movement, Sophia is just as dangerous on her own. And Philippe actually thinks she is going to recruit hundreds more people to die for his scheme? Sophia puffs out ring after ring. They slowly dissolve in the air, filling the room with acrid smoke. There is no hiding from her light blue eyes. A gentle smile plays on her lips. Just don't botch the whole thing while I'm gone, okay, Brante? You nod. An awkward silence follows. Deep inside Sophia's pipe, a red spark flares back to life again. She knew you would be at the print shop alone tonight. Did she really come here just to tell you this? She does not look away. I mean, merciless. I'm not just gonna wish her a safe journey. That's boring. I don't remain loyal to her. I'm not gonna protect her. She'll be gone. How am I supposed to protect her? I do like Sophia quite a lot, though. Even though she's betrayed us at this point. We've been through so much together, I think we may be in love. You take a moment to think, then sit next to Sophia. After another pause, you finally speak your mind. You've had this feeling ever since you were a child. You've tried to fight it, tried to ignore it, but it was all in vain, and now there is no reason to hide it anymore. You remember every moment you spent together, the games you used to play, her escape from the city, your chance encounter in Eterna. You have both experienced plenty of misfortune in your lives, but you are still happy because you have always been together. And then you say it. I love you. I will always be there for you. I will keep you safe from the rest of the world. There is nothing I will not do for you. Sophia freezes as though she has forgotten how to breathe. She interrupts you in a hushed whisper. Why are you... This can't be real. This isn't real. It's never real. Nobody stays. Everybody leaves one way or another. I'm leaving right now. And then you'll leave me too. You get down on your knees before Sophia and kiss her tobacco-stained fingers. You embrace her with great care, holding her close, stroking her hair. No, you will never leave her. Not ever. Her back grows stiff, but then Sophia's shoulders begin to shake. She is crying. Crying. You never thought it possible. You wipe the tears from her eyes. She holds your face in her hands and kisses you on the lips. There is nothing to say. She feels exactly the same. You cannot stop. You don't want to stop. Your head swimming in a blissful daze, your mind all gone, dissolved in those kisses. The warm caresses so gentle, the whispers so soft and sweet, the beating of your heart, the sound of discarded clothing falling to the floor. She is so vulnerable, so amazingly, impossibly defenseless. You never thought she would open herself to you like this, and yet here she is, right by your side, smiling, crying, laughing and kissing, touching and caressing, looking at you so tenderly all at once. The night lasted eternity. You are with her. She is yours. The sun rises and she has to leave. You can barely force yourself to let her go. Your kisses follow her to the doorstep. You promise to wait for her. You swear to remain by her side until the very end. Just before the door shuts, Sophia gives you a sheath containing a misericord, a long, slender dagger. Here, it's for you. May it give you strength. You can do anything, I know it. It's just the way it is. That was amazing, noob. The memory of our night together is the most precious thing I'm bringing with me. It'll tide me over until I come back to you. Take care and don't be afraid of nothing. Our cause is just. She gives you a long, slow kiss, then leaves at last. The door closes quietly behind her. The last straw is on your shoulders now, but you are no longer alone. We've grown close. Oh yay. You have become the closest person to Sophia. Yes, we have. We've done it. We have a lover in this cruel, cruel world. The Legion in the city. The unrest in Magra is growing by the day. More and more commoners flock to the streets and squares, trying to make their voices heard by the nobility. The crowds have become too large for the gendarmes to disperse. They can be no longer ignored. For the first time in years, the ruling estate seems to have seen the people for the terrifying power they represent, and they have decided to fight fire with fire. In spite of all the resistance offered by Prefect Elborn and the Lesser Quorum, the magistrate and the aristocracy finally get their way. Overseer Tempest deploys troops to the city. The streets and squares are packed on this celebrated day. Hidden in the crowd, you watch 2 battalions of the Imperial Legion march triumphantly down the streets of Anasant. The banners of Magra and the Tempest Soldier dynasty soar proudly above the soldiers' heads. Gaius Tempest leads the battalions himself, atop a white Monian stallion. To his right, you see the young captain of the battalion. He looks familiar. It's Thomas Guerra. When the procession reaches the Golden Square, it stops so the overseer can address the people. Battalions, defensive formation. The Legion soldiers spring into action, slamming their weapons against their shields as they move. Their last ranks shift in eerie harmony down to the last man, like an enormous, uncanny machine, and then they all stop at once, in an instant. The square grows silent. The overseer's booming voice echoes for all to hear. People of Anasant, I have heard you cry for help and come to the city accompanied by my loyal soldiers. The Imperial Legion will bring order to Anasant and put an end to all riots and crime. The soldiers will protect you from the schemes of rebellious nobles and insidious insurgents and anyone else who speaks to spark unrest. I am Gaius Tempest, the overseer of Magra and Anazat. By the Emperor's decree, I rule this land. Those who question my rule question the Emperor's rule as well, and they will be executed as rebels and insurrectionists. You hear whispers throughout the square. The Legion's arrival is a harbinger of change, but how drastic will this change be? Even at home, the Legion is the only topic of conversation during dinner. Thank the twins, Gaius Tempest has finally decided to act. Those low-born scum have grown far too insolent of late. They ought to be reminded of their place with an iron fist. Intimidating the people won't do any good, Stefan. They have valid reasons to take to the streets, but instead of hearing them out, the Overseer is hiding behind his soldiers. It's disgusting. I think Gloria is right. Everyone's really scared. A lot of my friends want the Legion to leave the city too. Those friends of yours know nothing, Nathan. They're allowed us to work and suffer, not wag their tongues. Oh, we're so sorry, Sir Stefan. We forgot that only blue bloods can rule. Too bad all that inbreeding hasn't made them any smarter. Enough bickering, you two. You clearly don't understand what's going on here. The purpose of the Overseer's move is first and foremost to thwart the plot against him, set in motion by Archduke Melanidas. Archduke Melanidas. Loyal clique of nobles. The commoners are a secondary matter. By the way, Noob, I've heard the battalion is being led by an old schoolmate of yours. He hasn't told you anything about what Gaius Tempest is up to, has he? We've not seen Thomas in a long time. He's not told you anything. It's too bad. Oh well. I suppose time will tell. Whatever the region, the Legion is here in Anazat, and it is a force that must be reckoned with. And as luck would have it, Thomas is the command of it. Is there any way for you to turn this situation to this last straw's advantage? I don't really want to use Thomas. I don't really want to use Thomas. I could convince him to cooperate. I don't want to incite the common people to riot, so no use, no concite. Denouncing him, you give Thomas the names of the nobles plotting against the Overseer in exchange for his assistance. That could be cool. Or we could convince him to cooperate. I'm going to denounce the rebellious nobles. I'm going to make use of the stuff that I got last time around. You and Thomas have known each other ever since you were boys. You used to play on these very streets pretending to be heroes of old, fighting the great battles of the past. Now Thomas commands the Legion soldiers sent to Anazat to squash the rebellion, or to squash the unrest. You have commanded the last straw and have spent several years preparing the city for a full-scale revolt. There it is, the ruins of Shar Melanidus' palace, the remains of your childhood fort still standing among the crumbling stonework. You wait for Thomas. He arrives alone without any soldiers to guard him. He wears a suit of armor and a vibrant cloak of the commanding officer, a sword by his side. His shoulders have grown even broader and he treads firmly. You spot a few early gray threads in his hair. Hello, Noob. Good to see you. You shake your old friend's hand and congratulate him on his promotion. Oh, it's nothing. But that was a good idea meeting here like this. And look, there's our old fort. Can you believe it's still there after all these years? Feels like a dream whenever I'm back in Anazat. So much has happened. I've become a nobleman, joined the Legion, got promoted to captain, but everything here is just as it was. Even those old wooden planks we lugged all the way here are still standing. You interrupt Thomas's reminiscences. There's no time for nostalgia. You have something important to discuss. Thomas's face grows serious. I'm listening, Noob. This is not about you, you explain. It's about Thomas himself. He's been gone from Anazat for so long he may have trouble understanding the state of contemporary noble society. There is something he needs to know. You show your friend the stack of notes and letters stolen from Otten's mansion. Surely Thomas has heard about the nobles plotting a revolt against the Overseer in the name of Archduke Melanidas. Yeah, I've heard about that. That treasonous poor son Otten was caught red-handed. The Overseer got some of his letters, but none of them ever implicated other nobles. Thomas considers the letters a moment, then points at them and turns to you. Is this what I think it is? So it was you? You were the one who exposed Otten? Exactly, you reply, and these documents are enough to implicate the rest of the traitors. Alright, Brante, I gotta admit I'm surprised, though I guess I ought to thank you for what you did to Otten. You have no idea how much easier my life got when he finally fled Magra. The Overseer really is worried about those rebellious nobles. If you have their names, please give them to me. Save the city from bloodshed. But where did you get those papers? That is a question you should not have asked. Still, you answer him truthfully. You serve the Empire as an agent of the Secret Chancellery. Your old friend falls silent for a moment, clearly stunned by the news. Wow, Brante, very well. What do you want for these papers? What you want is to have a few of those scheming nobles disappear on the way to the dungeons. Surely Thomas understands that this is in everyone's best interests. Your friend hesitates for a moment, then finally makes up his mind. Alright, noob, if you say so. Life sure is strange, don't you think? I mean, who could have guessed this is where the twins would take you? You and Thomas shake hands, embrace, and part ways. Your friendship began right here all those years ago. Will you ever see each other again? Over the course of the next week, the nobles have reported to Thomas leave Anazat one by one. Some are taken away in chains, arrested for plotting a revolt. Others manage to escape on their own and take shelter in Archduke Melanidas' castle. Still others find themselves imprisoned in the last hall's subterranean hideouts. You order Oliver to beat every last drop of information about the Archduke's plans out of them, then eliminate them. The nobler they are, the louder they scream. They're a right delicate bunch, boss. Gotta find me a cell with thick walls. Having dealt with the noble plot in Anazat, the battalions leave the city and return to Castle Inari. People have seen the Legion in action. They were far more reluctant to take to the streets and make demands now. For a time, Anazat enjoys a shaky, unsteady semblance of peace and quiet. There goes our position going up. I like that. I liked that decision. We helped out Thomas, really. He got a lot more stuff, you know? So I like that. Unusual suspects. Philippe has chosen an unusual meeting place tonight. Anazat's ancient marble bathhouse is the place only nobles are allowed to enter, but tonight, in accordance with the advisor's will, its doors are open to you. The staff treats you with the subservience typically reserved for a real nobleman. You are shown to a magnificent hall with ceilings supported by century-old columns, and left alone. The reflection of hundreds of candle flames dance across the walls, and the water in the marble pool. You notice a bowl of candied fruit and bottle of wine. There are no other patrons. This is most likely the only time you will ever see the inside of the bathhouse. Philippe rarely uses the same meeting place twice. After a while, you muster enough courage to enter the water. It is very warm. You lie on your back and float. Your body relaxes, and a pleasant feeling of drowsiness creeps over you. You are startled by echoing footsteps and the percussive thudding of a cane. Philippe is approaching. Several burly men, led by Oliver, follow behind him. You get out of the water and reach for your clothes, but moss steps onto your garments, preventing you from covering yourself. Hello there, Brante. Philippe's men surround you. The advisor taps the floor with his cane. The sound echoes off the marble walls. Droplets of water from your wet hair run down your back, causing you to shiver. Are you really naive enough to think you can conceal your betrayal from me, Brante? I'm the advisory of the secret chancellery. I know all about the deals you made behind my back. But I'll give you one last chance to save yourself. Confess your betrayal, and maybe, just maybe, I won't drown you in this pool like a run. Well, I mean, we can't prove our loyalty. We can't betray Vermont. We could betray Egmont, which would suck, but we could do it. We could betray Sophia, but we can't. We could just deny our guilt. I'm denying my guilt. You need to remain calm. Philippe does not know anything for sure. He is just fishing. The advisor is a hard man to deceive, but you have learned a lot over the years. Looking Philippe straight in the eyes, you tell him that this is a test makes no sense. None of his enemies could possibly have counted on your help, not even for a second. You have made no deals, you have conspired with no one, and you have not betrayed Sir Advisor. You are loyal to him, and him alone. Philippe gazes at you for a moment, then snaps his fingers. Moss lifts his feet from your clothes. His men move aside a bit. Fine, Brante, you've passed the test. Your loyalty is admirable. I need a man in Magra I can trust. You may stay here until midnight. Loyalty deserves to be rewarded. They leave. You sit down right on the marble floor, trying to calm your pounding heart. Just a little bit longer, and they would have involuntarily given yourself away. Imagining your limp body floating in the pool, you feel no desire to stay. You wait a little while, then go home. Whew! Good thing we had all that willpower, right? Oh, glad we stacked that up. I'm getting a little bit spooky. But I think that's going to do for this episode, guys. We're getting close to the 30-minute mark anyway. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you've enjoyed this episode, make sure to give it a like. If you've got anything to say, go to the comments below. And if you haven't yet, hit that subscription button and the bell. It helps me out a ton. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Peace.